Okay, seriously though, thoughts on the game? Game was incredible. First of all, game was actually incredible. It was very scary. That doesn't mean much for me because I'm not much of a horror game player. I don't play these games too often, to be honest. So I get scared really easily. I don't know if you could tell by all the screaming and shit. Put my little cap on here. A little cap on so you know I'm fucking serious. I look so stupid. But yeah, that game was very shocking, surprising at how good it ended up being. So just kind of run through it again. You start out just as clueless as the main character, like what the fuck is going on? Why am I here? And the game comes off very silly, goofy in the beginning. Like the way things are presented and shown to you is very like, okay, this is so silly and goofy, so horror tropey. And to be honest, Silent Hill's always had this mystique around it of being a psychological adventure, this horror game, not just a horror game, and that's why the Silent Hill 2 looks really strange. But anyways, so you're coming in, and you're not really knowing what's going on, just like Silent Hill, but then it sort of takes these turns that you feel like it's just going to go down a normal horror game path, like a regular, more like a Resident Evil 7 than a PT, the playable teaser. And then when you start getting these little nuggets of information about what's going on, in the very beginning they don't make any sense. But as soon as you start putting the puzzle pieces together, before your character, mind you, it starts getting fucked pretty quick. They show you these articles about suicide, about this building is famous for suicide and all this, and how this town has had no success. It brings COVID into the plot. That sort of ruined the whole town. They were going to do this transformation to the town to make it popular again, and then all of a sudden, COVID hits, and it's all canceled. I almost feel like not taking it as seriously as I did was such a strength to it, because when it actually hit, when it finally punched, like when it gave its first hit, it wasn't just like a little tap, it wasn't just like a little jump scare or anything like that, not like a normal game. It had that Silent Hill flair to it, where it was like really unexpected. And I think that's the thing about Silent Hill, is just you want to be taken on this strange journey almost. You don't really, you want to expect the unexpected, but not expected. With Resident Evil, you can kind of predict every beaten path. I mean, there might be like one crazy looking boss that you didn't expect, but I mean, Silent Hill, you never really know what's going on. And in my opinion, I think this game really condensed a whole Silent Hill game down to just that 2 hours. I would not mind a game like this that spanned 10 plus hours or however many. I wouldn't mind a full game like this, and I would pay whatever they ask. I was really impressed. Let me get back to the story. They start telling you more and more. This girl, she doesn't know where she's at. Her friend is asking her to come to this place, and she's looking for her. Her friend's not responding. Her other friend starts texting her about some other stuff and starts unveiling the plot a little bit about how she wants her to go to college with her, like come with her, and all this. And then eventually you find out the friend that was texting you to invite you there, turns out they've been dead. Your second friend tells you, what do you mean they died? Like, this newspaper article, like so-and-so died, and she was this artist that would draw this graffiti around. And your main character doesn't know that, so you're finding out at the same time as your main characters. You don't know what's going on. Your main character is confused, like, all right, this is weird. Like, they texted me to come here, and so eventually you get chased by the monster. The first time the monster chase happens, and every time before it happens, your controller starts shaking real bad, and the screen starts glitching out, and your phone, which you've been using for your light, starts glitching out. And, so it lets you know kind of before the monster chase comes. And every time the monster chase comes back up, it's way more intense than the last time. So the very first time, because you're just walking around rooms endlessly, like getting these little drip feed plot points. And so the very first time, like, it's like, oh my god, like, you're running through and you're just running aimlessly. You kind of see the monster, but kind of don't. I didn't really super see it the first time. I'm just trying to run. It kind of looked behind me for a second, but it wasn't quite at that pace where it was really chasing after me, hunting me down. And so, like, it's kind of a blink and you miss it. Like, the first time you're really being chased down, you have no time to see what's around you. You have barely any time to see the monster in the first place. You're just trying to get away. and it's such an intense feeling. I'm sure other horror games have replicated it. I don't have much horror game experience, but for me, it was very intense and exhilarating, especially the more those sections ramped up, which they never stopped ramping up in the way they did. And so after this section, you're completely disoriented. You're really just wanting to find a way out, and I believe that's around when the first loop ends, like chapter 1, and you jump off the building, killing yourself. But then you come back, kind of respawn, and you're like, okay, we're doing this again. What is happening? This is supernatural. What's happening? Your first friend starts texting you back again, and it's just sort of like, hey, find it. Like, it's comedic how often they text, find it. You have to find it. Your character's like, what the fuck are you talking about? Like, are you alive? Who are you? And you're just like, find it. And you're like, fucking what? And there's nothing. So you go through the section again, and you keep getting more information. It's like every time you re-loop through a section, it's like the same thing, but much more intense. So if the first time was a safe breeze through these hallways and up the stairs, through different rooms and everything, with a light chase at the end, the second time, things are a little moved around. There's more items, the place is trashed more, and the chase is more intense, which does come back. There's one room I didn't get to explore. I might reload up and go explore again because I wanted to go down the main room, which led to the school. And when you get to the school, it's this strange whiplash of... How's it going, SSS Tier X1? Can't leave till you find it. That's what it was. And it's just... When you get to the school section, it's this really odd whiplash of like, whoa, like this dark and eerie rundown apartments with graffiti everywhere, which, by the way, the game is beautiful to look at for what it was. Yeah, find it. And it's just this like fucking whiplash. The sound environment changes. All you hear is at the end of the hallway behind 2 doors, all this chatter, and it's almost distorted. Not at first, but it becomes distorted. You can look around this room freely and nothing happens, but it's so light and clean and brightly lit and almost normal. It's very strange. After running around thinking there's a creature chasing after you and seeing these different rooms. And before then, you're finding out so much about these different characters. There's like a room for each character, kind of drip feeding you more information about them. The one girl, your second friend, Amelie, she is going to college, but her parents sort of fell apart, and after they didn't have enough money to pay for her college and started freaking out, and she couldn't go to college and went through all this different torment and things like that, and was trying to do her best. And I guess her brother is a bit of a creep or something. I don't know what exactly I was trying to get across there. But eventually you get through the school, and this after you walk through the doors with the chatter behind it, there's all this like these shadowy figures. They loom above you. They're all spread out, talking amongst each other and talking about you. And it's sort of, you walk through and they start throwing shit at you, and you're like, what the fuck? You just keep doing that for a minute until you get to the end, and I can't quite remember what happens next, but then eventually you get back to this chase sequence. And then you get to... No, I believe after that, at some point you get to the library, and you keep being told to find it. Eventually you get chased again, and it's much more intense. As soon as you run out, that monster's on you, and the controller's like vibrating depending on how close the monster is. And then, like, when it gets real close, he does like a different kind of vibration and different kind of noise in your ear. Like, you can't see the creature, but the audio tells you it's right behind you on either side, and it's fucking close, and it's getting closer. And like it has this thumping when it's sort of close, and then it's like tippy tap, rickety rack when it's real close and about to get you. So all you can do is kind of keep running, and it's really intense because you don't know where you're going, which carries over into chapter 3. That's chapter 2. Chapter 2 kind of ends with this, I think it was chapter 2. No, it was chapter 3 that does that. At some point, you jump off again, and you're down in the pit instead of the bottom of the apartments, and you see yourself next to you, and the area starts off looking a little different. It's still similar, but a little different, with this weird drawing kind of across from where you spawn. That was like the first 2 times you spawn. And everything's completely distorted at this point. I mean, you're down at like some weird sub-level, like fenced out area, like almost like an electrical area, and you're running around again, doing the same thing. Eventually you come to where you think you're going to get chased again. The controller starts really shaking again, and the screen fucks up, and as you get closer and closer and closer to the end of this door, and they never once subverted your expectations to make you think you're not getting chased and then chase you. They did the opposite, where they made you think you were going to get chased, and then instead of that, they bring you to the apartment you used to live in. And I think if, like, it wasn't clear already, that moment, to me, sealed that, like, the thing chasing you is definitely your mom, right? I feel like it's got to be your mom. The fact that after it's supposed to chase you, you know, the screen fucks up and everything, and then it leads you to the rooms where you find out all the details of the fucked up shit your main character, Anita, went through. So basically, you go through these rooms. It's your apartment you used to live in. You read different stuff, and it's like notes from your mom. And she's just like, I just want to be happy. I want to love again. I hope the kids can understand. And then it's so fast, gets so distorted and nasty. You understand, like, your mom doesn't like you because throughout the different runs, you can hear shit that's clearly directed at from your mom. That you're just kind of a piece of shit. Fuck you. You ruined my life. And you start figuring out, like, the exact details. Basically, she meets this man, and, you know, that's all she cares about, and, you know, the kids don't like him, and she just wants the kids to like him. Eventually, she kind of gives up everything for him, like, says fuck it to the kids, like, I'm gonna abuse them like my mom did me. And then it's, you know, you go over to this fridge, and you interact with it, and start shaking and crying. You read this article right before about how Child Protective Services basically got called on your mom for hearing crying in the middle of the night, and man, the fridge starts shaking, and like, you hear crying, and it gets more and more distorted, but it's so loud and so distracting you can't even think straight, trying to walk past and read the other stuff. Basically, you get to another note, she's just like, I can't take it anymore, they don't understand, I'm gonna start doing, you know, like, she says something along the lines of, I know what's going on in the closet, but I have to ignore it. She's basically locking her kids in the closet and not letting them out, not feeding them, anything like that, because they are driving away this boyfriend of hers. And you go to the closet, you see that same drawing you see when you, like, spawn in, and you read an article, and it says, you know, so-and-so arrested for dead baby in the fridge. She killed her little baby and put it in the fridge to try and hide it. And it says in the newspaper that her daughter called her in. And so she went to jail. And it's like, holy shit, like, that moment where you're like, because right before then I was like, are they trying to say that they shoved the baby in the fridge? Like, that's really fucked. Sure enough, yeah, they just spell it out for you. And I think I do appreciate that a bit, because normally in a Silent Hill game or a game with trying to tell you certain things, they leave a lot of things ambiguous. They want you to really sit and speculate and play over and over again and figure it out. And I do think there's a lot in this game to sit and figure out. I think people could probably theorize for a little bit. But I do like that in general, it kind of spells things out for you. You kind of have a question that it gives you, and it will sort of answer them eventually, if not immediately, because it'll just answer a question with more questions, and then you're just wondering about so much. So that's a bit of the backstory that it gives you there. Yeah, what happens at some point in chapter 2? I skipped over it, but you find out that basically the one friend that was calling you to the apartment, she killed herself, and you're pretty much the reason that she killed herself, because you were jealous, and you basically told her she was a piece of shit and no one likes her, and so she just did it. She killed herself, and that's your fault. And your character's like, why won't you forgive me, blah blah blah, and just fucking can't leave till you find it, can't leave till you find it. It's like, all right, fuck it, let's keep going. That's when you go through the section with the apartment and your mom and everything. And then after that is the big chase, the final big chase of chapter 3, and that's probably why a lot of you are actually here in chat. It's fucking hard. So if the first chase from the monster wasn't that bad because it was short-lived and you didn't really know what was happening, and by intention, and the second one was a much more intense flee for your life, the third one, I don't even know how you would describe it any further. It was a fight, a scram, a puzzle for your life. You had no idea what the fuck to do, and I don't entirely know how I feel about it yet. I think I appreciate it that it did last a little longer, but I do wonder if there was a better way to do it other than just making it so difficult to navigate. And so you get to this last section, and the controller starts doing its thing again, starts vibrating, screen starts shaking. You get up to the door when you're done with the apartments, learn about your mom and the dead freezer baby. And you go through, and as soon as you walk out, everything's on fire. Right in front of you, monsters in front of you. You have to turn around immediately. First thing you have to do, it fucks you. It's like, hey, you're supposed to turn around, by the way. You turn around, everything behind you is different when you go back through the door. And it is this endless maze of different rooms and hallways and loop-de-loops so you can loop the monster around you. The monster's so fucking fast. It's so unstopping. It will teleport wherever it wants sometimes when you get to new sections, but you have no idea you're in these new sections because you don't even know what you're supposed to do, which to a certain extent I appreciate. Basically, you're trying to find, I think, 5 different objectives to go interact with them to unlock this door slowly, and it is unbelievably chaotic in a bad way and a good way. I think I spent about 20 minutes there. Some people have spent a lot longer, over an hour, and still haven't cleared it. It's very fucking hard, but it's definitely for the wrong reasons. So you run in, you have no idea what you're looking at. There are different landmarks, there are different creepy things to kind of make you be like, oh, I've been here before, I think, and I've been here before, I think, but everything looks generally samey. And you have to find these different spots to interact with them while you're being fucking hunted by this monster, and it is unrelenting. And it killed me multiple times. It was very frustrating. If you turn down the door you were supposed to exit after you unlock everything and find all the interactive things, if it was behind you, you're pretty much dead. I don't think there's any way to get out of there. And yeah, so that happened definitely a couple times. And what would suck is you would just be wandering aimlessly. There's nothing guiding you that I was able to identify, or anyone else was. There's nothing guiding you, and you're just going and running and hoping you find new scenery, hoping you find a new objective you haven't found before. You think you found a new room, but you're right back where you were in the beginning, where you already got that objective, and oh, you found 3 or 4 of them? Well, you're dead. Restart. You found 1 or 2 of them, you're dead. Restart. And you just have to hope and pray that the monster's not fucking hunting you down. You just have to keep running. Keep running. Man, it was miserable and terrifying. It was kind of on and off terrifying. It was starting to get a little old, and I can see why people wouldn't finish it. Yeah, it was very tough. And then right after that is pretty much the very end. And so what the game was kind of building up to was that trying to tell you the story about your character. You were jealous of your one friend who you made kill themselves because you were jealous of the friend they were hanging out with, Amelie, by talking them down, even though they were a great artist. You were jealous of them as well, which may have, fueled the hate. And I feel like originally I was trying to portray this message, and there's a lot of self-harm imagery throughout the entire thing as well. I mean, you're killing yourself, jumping off a building. There's a scene where you're cutting yourself, but it blacks out, that kind of thing. And you're led to believe, like, you just face it, you're a monster. You made this girl kill herself because you're a piece of shit, because you have problems, and you took them out on other people. So the first time, chapter 1, you jump off the building. That's where people have been killing themselves. That's the whole point. To kill yourself, jumping off the building. Second time you jump off, you fall in the pit. The third time, and the second time as well, you call Amelie and kind of give her more information, because she will call and respond in this weird nightmarish realm. And you call her the third time when you get there, because you kind of just are like willing to accept, you know what, I'm a piece of shit, this is all my fault, I'm a horrible person, it's just time to call it, right? I know what I did wrong, thank you for showing me. These people did care about me, and I never took the time to notice because I was just so frustrated to even look. I was too selfish, too careless to even take the time to notice these people looking at me. And so you just say, fuck it, I'm done. And right when you go to do that, you hung up with Amelie, she calls you back. Or she texts you, I think. She texts you is what it is. Right before you're about to jump, you get a text. She says, hey, let's go to the mall. Let's talk about stuff. Let's get through this. Let's talk about what we're feeling about each other. And it's just a really built-up moment. Like, it's it. You figured out what you needed to do. It's time to pass on to the next world. Time to join the other girl. I can't remember her name. And that wasn't it. You get that text, that last hope of, hey, let's make, like, it's okay, like, I'm here for you, like, let's talk about this, make it work. And it's just, honestly, it's this really powerful, kind of beautiful moment where it's like, this whole game has been just bombarding you with this feeling of, like, you're a piece of shit, fuck you, you should end it right here, end it right here. And what it was really trying to say is, no, like, one, you have to keep living. You have to live with what you've done. Two, like, you can't give up. You got to keep going. You got to keep going day by day. You do that, you're calling it quits, you're giving up. That's even more selfish than you were in the beginning. You know, like when it was one thing to do what she did, but to keep it going further by ending it right there, that's even more selfish. So you have to face the music, and all you can do is one day at a time. And I really, that's the message I got out of the game. Is that's not the answer. It's not the answer to end your own life. It's to keep going one day at a time, no matter how tough it gets, knowing that the next day comes, until it's all over. But until it is, just keep going one day at a time, right? And one, it really spoke to me on a personal level. Two, it really spoke to me at how talented these developers are. This game came out of nowhere. I don't know who developed this game. Obviously, Konami. I don't know who they had develop it, because I don't think they're making games themselves. It gave me, by the end of this game, it gave me this unique feeling that I really feel like is associated with Silent Hill. That it's not just a horror game. And it's not just a horror game that has unique, creepy things. It is a horror game, a psychological journey, right? The only one I've really finished all the way through is Silent Hill 2. And I don't want the new Silent Hills to all be based on Silent Hill 2, where Silent Hill 2 is basically punishing a man for what he's done and putting him in purgatory, kind of whichever direction you go by the end. And it sort of created an impact on the series where they kept trying to repeat that. And this game had that feeling that it was like, this girl is dead, this is her purgatory, her punishment, she needs to realize that and then live out the rest of her days punished. But it subverted my expectations as a Silent Hill fan and a Silent Hill non-believer after the golden age of Silent Hill by saying, we made you think we're doing that, but we're actually not. And so now I want these guys to make a Silent Hill game, full stop, please. Because I think they understand how to tell a compelling story in a Silent Hill style without relying on the big Silent Hill 2. They don't have to rely on the most popular one, which a lot of the games did after like Silent Hill 4 and they lost the original team. And I really appreciated that. This game really felt like it wasn't trying to be Silent Hill 2, like a lot of games were and still are. It felt like it was really trying to give you a new side of Silent Hill. Like you can even see the logo there. It's all kind of glitched out. It's more modern. It's different. It's a different take on Silent Hill, but it's more Silent Hill than some Silent Hill games. So in that aspect, I really appreciate it. And like I said, the game's all in about 2 hours, assuming you don't get stuck on Chapter 3 for 2 or 3 hours. It's really great. I'm really impressed by this game. I don't think it's something I will replay again. I do think I might hop back in to see what I missed lore-wise on the one section I didn't take before the school. But it was honestly so verbose. It was completely unexpected. And I can't recommend it enough. It was a very good time, because I had no expectations, obviously, because nothing had been shown about it until it released. And I thought it was going to be shit, and it just kept kind of, like, telling me, like, slowly, like, you should pay a little more attention, like, we got something worth checking out. Yeah, that was incredible. That's really all I got left on it. Even if the story's a bit convoluted. The story's kind of hard to explain if I didn't explain it good, sorry. But yeah, it left a very beautiful message, I think. So yeah, that's kind of it. If anyone else finished the game, let me know what they thought. I thought it was really good. I would not mind seeing a fully fledged game in this style, the first person and all. I will say, especially at first, why I thought it was going to be so silly goofy was because like every 2 seconds you interacted with something, it like went to a flashback sequence or a weird like, oh, my head hurts and now I have to look at the ground. And I do think if the game was spread out more, like those would be kind of your reward for progressing. but because the game's so condensed, they kind of had to be so back-to-back, and so that might have hurt it a little bit on a more critical take. But yeah, no, I mean, the game was incredible. Good message, good gameplay, good graphics, and it's free, so you really can't complain too much. But I hope this is a sign to come for future Silent Hill games, and I look forward to whatever they put out next, because they took the seat out from under me and showed me, hey, fucking stand up, you piece of shit. But don't kill yourself. Don't do that. I have to censor that if I upload it. But yeah, good game. That's it. That's all I got. I'm gonna go eat dinner and shit. Thanks for sticking around, everybody. Fucking out of here. If anyone's still lurking around and watching, if you like what I'm talking about, leave a like at least. I mean, that'd be freaking epic. If you leave a like, that makes a huge difference. Subscribing. I don't know who all's here, so just thank you guys for listening to me and what I have to say and all that. I'm out of here. That's it. Good game. I'll get my thoughts together in a video, probably using a lot of this clip here I recorded, so. Yup. I'm out of here. Fucking adios. Like and subscribe and all that shit if you want. If not, that's cool. But just thanks for hanging out. So I'm fucking bouncing. Hey, so those are my thoughts immediately after beating the game, but it's been a couple days since then, and I wanted to get my thoughts a little more clear about how exactly I felt about the game and its strengths and weaknesses, so here to clarify a little bit. I wanted to address the biggest thing immediately, and that's Chapter 3. Chapter 3 is really bad. The chase sequence at the end there, where you're being chased for the final time, I actually don't think that section's good at all. I think I just didn't care as much at the time because I was happy I beat it, and that I did enjoy the ending of the game, and I felt it was worth it. But I could see very easily how if someone got through that, they would not feel the ending as worth it due to all the fucking annoying shit getting up to there. And so, Chapter 3, the biggest problem in Chapter 3 is that the chase sections before had a gimmick that was fair. Find the monster, it will be in front of you, turn around, loop it around so you can move forward. It's very straightforward and basic. This was fine because you had a way to sort of know what to do. You knew what to do after you figured it out. Problem in Chapter 3 is it was an endless run where you have no way to fight back, and the lose condition was so strict that it just becomes immediately frustrating after the first death. I think an easy solution to this could have been having some sort of way to prevent the monster from chasing after you, maybe making the place a little less confusing to run around because everything looks the exact same even though there's different landmarks. It's almost impossible to tell how it's all linked together. And going back to the ending, after getting through all of that bullshit, I can understand how someone would not get the same message as I did after completing the game. Because the story's not told in a very straightforward way, it's very abstract, and then when it is told in a very straightforward way, it is just kind of text logs. So I could see how someone wouldn't like that as much, back to back to back. But I do think they sort of took a full Silent Hill game experience and condensed it down, so maybe normally these text logs wouldn't be so close together, or the flashback sequences or whatever they were where your head hurts and you look down, maybe those wouldn't be so close together and would feel a lot more rewarding over the span of 10 hours instead of 2. I also recently watched my brother play through the whole game, and that definitely made me realize just how bad Chapter 3 is, and how the chase sequences before then worked really well, because once I sort of explained how you need to do it, you need to find the monster and turn around, it made more sense to him and he thought it sounded fair. But the last sequence, we didn't even play. I just showed him what happened because it was such bullshit. Another thing I want to talk about too is I don't remember if I mentioned it, but I think I talked about the monster's identity. Possibly being the mom. I can't really tell. I'm pretty sure it's meant to be Maya. Also, I just blanked on all the characters' names after I beat the game immediately, which that was funny. And yeah, so I do still ultimately like this game. I really have not looked into the discourse around this game and what people's thoughts are, but I am a fan of this game. I enjoy it. It's not something I plan on replaying, but it is something I could show people, be like, hey, you should check this out. I think you might find it interesting, and I think it's worth your time. Excluding Chapter 3. If they got there and quit, I wouldn't blame them. I would just go, okay, now watch the rest of it. It's kind of stupid. That shouldn't be the case, and I think that does take harshly away from the game. I don't want the game to be so easy you could beat it first try without even thinking, but I do think it's very much crossed the line in terms of what's fair and what's fun, and I don't think that last section is fun at all. I think it's just frustrating. So yeah, I enjoyed this game a lot. I would like for them to make a fully fledged game in this style. Just work out the monster encounters, possibly add some way to fight back, or maybe just give yourself a hit system where you can take multiple hits and push the monster off, because it just was a little too brutal for no reason. And even if that was the intention of the message, I don't think that makes for a fun game. So yeah, Overall, enjoyed this game. Thought it was cool. I look forward to new Silent Hill games. And I want to add that this game does feel truly Silent Hill through and throughout the entire thing. It does give off vibes that the other horror games that try to emulate it just can't. It did give me Silent Hill feelings accurately. Not sure how I feel about Silent Hill 2's latest trailer. Time will tell. Thanks for watching.
You're way too hard on yourself.